back. You're watching The Money Show with me, Kavita Thapliyal. There are a plethora of funds available in the market to invest your hard-earned money in, but how do you assess which is the right fund for your portfolio? What are the criteria that one should look at to help you navigate through this maze? Today we have Hemant Ustigi, Wise Invest Private Limited. Also, do not forget to send us your portfolio queries on our WhatsApp number, which is 865-797-4571. You can also email us your queries on themoneyShow@etnow.tv. Good evening, Hemant, and welcome to the show. We have our first viewer on the phone line, Venkat from Hyderabad. Hi, good evening. How are you doing?
Fine, doing good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sending us your question. All right, so you want to decide as to what kind of category should be given, what kind of exposure in the portfolio?
No, that is not the question what I asked for. Actually, I heard one of your program where you were asking there is an allocation of each fund, but however, like a multi-cap in which already mid-cap is there and small cap is there. So when we decide on the overall portfolio, do we need to count those inherent allocation of these multiple example, small cap, we have to count that also when we decide on that overall portfolio or not? Or we need to count only like small cap fund separately, mid cap fund separately, because multi cap is having all, no? That is the doubt I have.
All right. Hemant, how would you look at this question?
Well, Kavita, I think Venkat has asked a very, very important question. We all know that equity plays an important role in any long-term investor's portfolio because that's the only asset class that can help you beat inflation. But considering the fact that equity is an aggressive asset class, it's very, very important to keep an eye on what kind of allocation you have for different market segments, that's large cap, mid cap, and small cap. Obviously, the key is how much you allocate in the beginning and how much you allow it to deviate over a period of time. For example, the allocation for 5 to 10 years horizon will be different compared to someone who is investing for 15, 20 years. How do you keep a track of exposure to different market segments, as Venkat asked? Look, there are certain funds which are investing in a particular segment, okay, which could be a pure large cap fund, pure mid cap fund, pure small cap fund. Then there are different categories like flexi cap, large and mid, multi cap. Now, in multi cap, we know that minimum exposure to each asset class has to be 25%. So if I were to look at as an investor as to how much exposure I have and how do I keep track of that, I need to look it across the portfolio. Now, for example, if I'm investing in, let's say, small cap fund, the small cap doesn't mean that it will be 100% small cap. You will invariably see that some of the small cap funds are also investing 10 to 15% in large cap and mid cap. Similarly, a flexi cap, while there is a flexibility to the fund manager to decide how much he wants to allocate to different market segments, invariably you'll find that there is a strong bias towards the large cap. So you need to look at all funds put together because that can make a significant difference. For example, if you're looking at only fund which is investing in a segment and you leave out others, you will see a significant variation. And it's very easy to get this information. It's available on the facts sheets of the mutual funds. You can look at the mutual fund website. There are platforms where this information is available. So I think it's important to look at across. And if you're actually, using a particular site for portfolio updation, the moment you upload all the details of your portfolio, you will actually get to know how much allocation is there for each segment. So no, you have to look at all funds across the portfolio to get a fix on how much exposure is there for different market segments.
All right, Venkat, is there anything else you want to ask Hemant?
Defines my issue actually. Thank you very much for addressing this.
All the best. We move on. Second question is again from Hyderabad, Padmavati. Do I have Padmavati on the phone line? Okay, we move on, but we have a question. So she's investing in Canara Bank emerging equity. She has Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, Axis Mid Cap, SBI Blue Chip, ICICI Pro Blue Chip, DSP Equity Opportunities, Kotak Emerging Equities, and she's been investing since last 5 years. And she wants to know if she can continue her investment in these funds, and in case any changes are needed, what would that be?
Well, Kavita, the time horizon is, I think, overall 10 years. 5 years she's already completed. She has another 5 years to go. So I think investing in equity fund is certainly a good idea. But there are 7 funds for 14,000. So I believe that there is a scope to consolidate the portfolio, which means reduce the number of funds but ensure that there is a proper allocation to different market segments. So some of the funds can be retained, some of the funds maybe she can consider stopping SIP there. So in pre-existing fund, maybe she can reallocate the amount. For example, you have Parag Parek Flexi Cap, she can allocate 4,000 there. Then Kotak Emerging allocation can be 4,000. ICICI Blue Chip allocation can be 3,000. And I would recommend adding one large and mid cap fund, which is SDFC large and mid cap, and investing 3,000 in that. So in all, 4 funds, 3 existing funds, but with reallocation of amount, and one new fund, SDFC large and mid cap with 3,000 allocation.
All right, we move on. Let's take Lokesh Raja's question, and he's doing SIPs in 5 funds, 2,000 each. Axis Blue Chip, Axis Small Cap, Kotak Emerging Equity, Parag Parek Flexi Cap, HDFC Small Cap. It's almost 50,000 per month, and for 10 years he wants to invest. The aim is to accumulate corpus of 10 crores with this portfolio.
Get to the target within this time horizon. So I think broadly the expected corpus would be around 1 crore 20 lakhs. So clearly, if he wants to achieve the target, he has to actually increase his SIP to almost 8 lakh per month. So I think there's a big gap in how much he's investing and how much he wants to achieve through this investment. A couple of changes in the portfolio I think will be better for his portfolio. There are 2 small cap funds. So my recommendation would be to retain 1 small cap, which is HDFC small cap. And the other one is Axis small cap. Maybe you can consider looking at 1 multi-cap fund, which could be Nippon multi-cap. And then there is also Axis Blue Chip. And there is also, Parag Parek Flexi Cap. So, my belief is that the money which is being invested in the Blue Chip fund can also be reallocated to Flexi Cap fund. I think that bring out the better balance, and there is better flexibility in terms of rebalancing allocation to different markets. So I think a couple of changes in the portfolio. And as I said, there is a gap in how much he will be able to accumulate and how much he wants to accumulate.
Arun from Mumbai is on the phone line. Hi, good evening, Arun. How are you doing?
Hi, good. Kavita, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. You can tell us your fund details?
Sure.
Portfolio details.
So, good evening, sir. So I have 5 SIP that I do. All of them 5 are into growth type. One is Axis Blue Chip Fund, Axis Mid Cap Fund, Canara Robeco Emerging Equities Fund, SBI Small Cap Fund, and Nippon India. So Nippon India, I'm doing 3,000 per month as SIP, and the rest other 4 I'm doing 5,000 per month as SIP. So I'm looking at a corpus of around 3 to 4 crores in next maybe 15 years or so. So is the alignment in line?
How long are you investing?
So I've been investing for around 5 years now.
Okay, and you've been increasing your SIP amount, or it's the same?
Not yet. Not yet. I have not yet done. I know it is in the pipeline.
Oh, so in 5 years you have not increased your SIP amount?
No, not yet.
Okay,
yes, not.
okay. All right, so let's figure out if you can achieve the corpus of 3 to 4 crores via this portfolio, but you might have to increase your investment amount because your time duration is almost 15 years, it seems. Hemant, what do you recommend?
Well, I think 2 important things. One, he's been investing for the last 5 years. Obviously, he's accumulated some corpus. Another around 15, 16 years to go. So my thing is that I think in terms of calculation, he should be able to achieve the target of around 3 crore. Since he's mentioned 3 to 4 crores, if he's looking to accumulate a corpus of 4 crore, maybe then he needs to kind of add another 7,000 rupees to his SIP. So it should be around 30,000. And one simple way to do that is also to step up your SIP every year. If you can do that by 10%, actually, you can then accumulate a much larger corpus. A couple of changes, I believe, because as I mentioned while answering the earlier query, that it's important to invest in a manner that there is more flexibility in terms of rebalancing allocation to different market segments by the fund manager rather than you trying to replicate what the fund manager does. So a couple of changes I would recommend here. There is Axis Blue Chip, Axis Mid Cap, and Canara Robeco Emerging, where it's investing 5,000 each. My recommendation would be to stop these three SIP and then look at HDFC large and mid cap at 7,000 and Kotak multi cap at 8,000. So two funds in place of three, but different categories, which will give you the flexibility and maybe better performance over a longer period.
All right, Arun, is there anything else you want to ask?
No, thank you very much for guiding, sir. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, Kavita.
We move on. Lakshmanan from Bangalore, and he's been investing in Axis long-term equity since 2014, and he wants to know if he can switch from this fund to Axis long-time savings.
Well, Kavita, I'm not too sure whether the name that he has mentioned where he wants to switch in is the correct name. But as far as the Axis long-term equity is concerned, it's an ELSS fund. It hasn't been doing well over the last couple of years. So definitely, if he has completed his mandatory lock-in period, he can definitely consider, switching that money elsewhere. So if the time horizon allows him to remain in an equity, maybe he can look at Axis Growth Opportunity Fund. Maybe that's a better option. Maybe it's a large and mid-cap fund, and also investing some amount in US markets. So within Axis. But if he already has a couple of other funds in the portfolio, which are good quality funds, maybe then he can move that money to some other fund. But the name that he has mentioned, it doesn't seem to be the correct name.
All right, we move on. We have Rahul Sharma on the phone line with us from Chennai. Rahul, good evening. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much. So you have started investing in Nippon Small Cap, HDFC Multi Cap. You have Axis Small Cap, SBI Contra, ICICI Pru Small Cap, and you want to generate 2 crores in 15 years.
3 crores. 3 crores after 15 years.
3 crores. Okay. Are you willing to increase your SIP amount?
Yes.
And you've been investing since how long?
Actually, one year before.
All right. And okay. And who recommended these funds to you?
It's on my will only.
Okay. This is a slightly very aggressive portfolio looking at the kind of market cap you have in your portfolio, but we'll sort this out for you. Hemant, do you think there's a lot of risk involved in the kind of placements he's done?
Yes, I mean, a good thing is that he's investing for the long term, so he has time on hand. But I think the composition is equally important. We did discuss that earlier. But here, I think almost 20,000 rupees is being invested in the small cap fund, which I think is very, very aggressive. But good thing is that he has some good quality funds in his portfolio. First, let me just mention about his target. With the current investment, he should be able to get around 1.5 crore. If his target is, let's say, 2 crore, then maybe he needs to add 9,000. But if it is 3 crore, obviously, then the right thing would be maybe if he can do step up SIP maybe by 10%, he should be able to get there. So that's as far as the target is concerned. On the fund size, I think on the fund side, there are 3 funds which he can retain in the existing fund, but maybe reallocate the amount. Nippon Small Cap, take 8,000 instead of 5. HDFC Multi Cap, again 8 instead of 5. And SBI Contra, 8 instead of 5, which is being invested now. So this will be 24,000, and the remaining 6,000 he can add one large and mid cap, which could be Motilal Oswal large and mid cap, where he can invest 6,000. So 4 funds for his current investment. Like I mentioned, I think these are good funds, but he just need to reallocate the amount to get better results.
All right, Rahul, anything else you want to ask?
That's all, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All the best. Last question of the day. Hemant, we have K. Dheeraj's question via email, and 3 crores in 20 years, Kotak Equity Opportunities, ICICI Pru Large and Mid Cap, Nippon Multi Cap, Mira Asset Large Cap, Kotak Flexi Cap, and SBI Blue Chip.
Well, I think as far the target is concerned, the time is around 20 years. SIP is 14,000, but I don't think he will get to the target there. For getting there, he needs to increase his SIP to 30,000. With the current SIP, he can expect a corpus of around 1.4 crore. So there is definitely a gap, and he should try to increase the amount as early as possible, as soon as possible, so that there is sufficient time for the corpus to grow to the level that he wants it to be. A couple of changes again, I think, keeping the flexibility in mind, which I mentioned earlier. Mira Asset Large Cap, SBI Blue Chip, where is investing 3,000 and 4,000 respectively. this 7,000 can be reallocated to the existing fund. For example, 2,000 can be reallocated to Kotak Equity Opportunity, 2,000 to ICICI Large and Mid, and 3,000 to Nippon Multicap. So this is how the 7,000, if he decides to stop this 2 SIP, can be reallocated to the existing fund. Again, like I said earlier, it will be easier to get the allocation rebalanced, and I think there will be a potential to get better return over the longer period.
Right. I think that will be all. Thank you so much, Hemant, for being on the show today and helping our viewers with their financial portfolio queries. And time to sign off, but I'm going to leave you with our WhatsApp number and email ID where you can send us your portfolio-related queries, WhatsApp your questions, or you can also email us your queries. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.